Thank you very much. Hello and a warm welcome. I see still people joining. I will talk with you about the CAVORS System Availability Dashboard. What is CAVORS? Customer and Vehicle-Oriented Retail Services. I have to make clear, so we will have a short introduction and a background, the after-sales environment I'm talking about, why we need such a platform in after-sales, Alas and CAVORS platform, what it is, and what we achieved, and Q&A session will be the last. I'm the area product owner in the after-sales in the CAVORS environment. In my responsibility are 13 applications, and one out of that is the Alas system with the CSAT based on Elastic Stack. We operate the dealer software worldwide, and I think this is quite interesting for you. So we have around the world roughly 38,000 dealers with multiple outlets, some of them. Out of these dealers, 170 only are owned by BMW itself. The rest are third parties. We, of course, have the software in the workshop. If someone wants to program your car, he needs a specialized BMW software that is bought by the dealers. And we have then the software to even read, this will be an abbreviation we see later, AYR, A-Y-R. It says After Sales Information Research. It combines some informations of, for example, actual cars of us. They send regular telegrams to the central office and saying, I need this service, I need that service. So if you hand the key to the desk here in front, he can immediately read from the key what the car says, which service needs does it have, and can help you and say, hey, we know you come for the oil service, but your brakes only do say 3,000 more miles. That is less than a month for you. We offer you, we do this both, then you don't need to return next month. So this is then here, and so the customer arrives at the desk, the key is read, and then in the background, until the car is programmed and you get it back in the evening, what do you imagine how many applications are involved in that, roughly, in just the after-sales area? Not sales, not car development, any number? 10? 5? It's around 50. Why is it 50? Because one is handling the customer data that is no longer needed in the workshop. They don't care if it's Mr. Hilke or Mr. Alessandro or whoever who owns the car. They will need to do what was ordered. The other is there's a special software to read the key. But of course, until you have your customer experience, you get your bag repaired in the evening, all 50 applications need to run well. And we had big problems with the dealers that they didn't know if something was not working. Was it in their environment, with their laptop, it's their own equipment? Is it with a server we call INIS internally, ISP Next Internal Server, with that server, or with the backend? So what we did with ElasticStat, we built up a whole environment for combining all the applications logs, aggregating them, analyzing them, and putting it together in a dashboard I will show you later, for a better customer experience. That is how it looks. We talk about two systems here, the after-sales log analyzer stack named Alas, that is the one that collects the data, and the CAVORS System Availability Dashboard that meanwhile we present to our markets and to the interested dealers. It is not you need to click through Kibana. We found Kibana is nice for all our application owners, for all our DevOps teams, because they know well how to click it together, how to analyze the data, but the markets don't, and of course the dealers also don't. But they want the answer, are the systems running well? And the key features. So for example, if air, I named this earlier, fails during work days on the normal business hour between 8 and 1400, you see it is per hour a damage of 106,000 euros. Why is it a damage of that high? Because around the world we have many cars which are maintained, and if it does not work out, and the car is delayed, a customer arrives at the desk, he needs to go home without the car, that's pain for both sides. It is also that the technician maybe cannot do the programming, so he needs to wait, return an hour later and try again, and of course this is all pain, and this is why we try to minimize these impacts. So what we do is the applications up to 50, so far integrated 30, and I can tell you it's first hard to get that system implemented. You have the first who want it, then you have 5, and only if they see there is a value and the market is then asking for, why is this application not in, why is that not in, they come more and more. So actually I would say per month we integrate 5 more, so now it's in a going mood after roughly 1.5 years. We have 3 instances. Due to legal reasons, we need to divide US, China, and EMEA in multiple environments. We use Beats, Logstash, as most of you maybe, APM and so on. We via Kibana and Logstash, we put it to the Elasticsearch. And finally, and that will be the main focus today, we go for the CSAT, Customer CAVORS System Availability Dashboard. And of course, we also have watchers and alerting in our system. I will tell you more about that. So far, when I created the slides, we have 25 onboarded applications with roughly 700 users. Why is it only 700 users out of 38,000 dealerships? It is because they are organized in groups, these dealers, and they have then one specialist who looks at it, whom they call and say, hey, I have a problem, can you please have a look? We have roughly 600 million documents per day, 750 gigabytes are processed by our environment, and as I already said, we are in 3 regions. That's the dashboard, how it looks for the dealers or the markets. It's quite simple. It shows just 8 tiles and shows you, is the system well, is the availability green or red, and is the performance doing well. Important thing is we always have an I and a plus, and that is for a good reason, because we found out you cannot measure all applications in the same manner, and also some are requiring 4 or 5 systems in the backend. Of course, that takes a longer time. So if you click on the I, you get more details per tile, saying when is this tile saying the performance is bad. Because for some system it might be bad even if it's worse than a second. For others, maybe 10 seconds are fine because it's just processed in the backend. So the performance is not always equal, but you can trust. If the performance is shown green, we know everything is running fine for the customers and for the dealers. Here in this example, I brought with me, first example, the ETK. The availability was red. Red, first of all, means application not running well, something's bad. For us, it is always the worst case is promoted on the desktop. So if first red does not necessarily mean the whole application does not work. An application, as for you with APIs, consists of 10 to 50 APIs. And even if one API fails, we say the availability of the whole application is red. If you want details, you can go into that and see what exactly fails. We will see that later. And we have introduced, first we haven't had that, the color gray. The color gray was needed, as I have shown former times on the slide. We have dealers sitting around the world. There might be the internet connection broken from him. Then we don't get any information, of course, and we decided to then reflect it in gray. No, saying we don't know the status. We cannot for sure say it's broken. We cannot for sure say it's working. So then, so this is the detail page for this example, ETK or EPC. ETK is the German word elektronischer Teilekatalog, and the EPC is the electronic parts catalog, and I think most of you will much better understand what that is. So this application, for example, says if the success ratio, so not in milliseconds measured, is between 70 and 100%, it's green, the performance. If it's between 40 and 70%, it's orange. And if it's below 40, of course, then it's definitely failed. To go in the details, you see in this example, as we saw on the main slide, that it was shown red, but only the identifying of older and classic cars, so elder than 15 years, in this case was disturbed. The REST functions were well done, were well functioning, so no need, and we saw it was failing over 20 hours already. The root cause behind was, I think a certificate was changed and it did not work out well and took a while until that was exchanged. We can also then see it on a bigger historical graph with the plus. We can then see what was failing in the past. It is always the older and classic cars feature that was not working well. Then, second example, I already said we have a server that is the interface between the dealer software he uses on the laptops and the backend doing the connections. And this is, I brought it with me because it's an excellent example including world map, what is possible with this Canvas and the Kibana stuff. So as I said, we try to keep it simple. We don't want the user or the market to have to choose too much possibilities on network traffic to whatever. We have the details in the background in Kibana for our DevOps teams, but we don't have it for the market and for the dealers. And you see even with the servers, they individually, some use ISPA, it's this column here, some use IOM, others don't. So also in the monitor, you need to know what do they use to later see if there is a deviation to the ideal situation. It's very specific. And I brought an example with me where something is red, and you see it does not reflect to the overall. Why does it not reflect in this case to the overall? Because we can see, maybe it's hard for you to see, it shows a little bit a worker tool beside it, because what we do is whenever there is an action ongoing and the system administrator is working on these backend services and gives us the hint, then we say it's in working mode, it's in maintenance mode, so then it's not distributed to the high level. It's always showing on the top level if something's not working, but here in this case we see that they are on maintenance mode. For deployments, it's the same. If you do a deployment, automatically the maintenance mode is set, so that then, of course, not all the alarms are raised. But after the deployment is done and it's taking away the maintenance, it's still red, it causes the alarms. So then if we drill down into the map, for example, here to Germany, we can even see where around Germany these servers are located and if they are all green. And this is what, for example, our dealers absolutely love, and where we are actually working on that they can store this as a shortcut as an UL, that they directly can filter it to their needs and can directly have it seen what they want to see for their region, for their outlet, for whatever. So far they need to drill down as me by choosing the area or the server to their interest. If something goes red, and meanwhile we have this trust from all the dealers and markets, we, via alerts and watchers, the right DevOps team is informed via incident tickets. We have a ticketing system there, a worldwide one for BMW, and emails. And meanwhile, they know if it is red, showing in the system, no need to open additional tickets. We are informed, we are working on that. Not necessarily my team, but all in the CAVORS environment. It's in overall 5 teams, 5 areas. And so we have the chance to minimize the impact to the customers. Within the last year running this system, we nearly halved the downtime for the dealers. The experience really increased much, and they love it very much. So we enhanced the customer experience. We optimized the performance for the business, because knowing there is a lag, we can take early measures to fix it. We can see there is a line broken, not only when everything is gone, but even early. Then we increase the productivity for the dealerships and the partners. They can, for sure, handle more cars, more requests. And we lowered the negative impact to a bottom line. I said we halved what we had before, and they were not so happy. So the conclusion is we have now happy customers. They normally get their car back in the evening, or as spoken. We have happy markets and happy dealers with this approach, with this transparency, and they believe us that our systems are not as bad as they sometimes seem. As I said, we found out that there are problems with the connections, leased lines we don't pay for. We have seen there are problems with the local environment. They lose their rights and roles or something like that. So it's a severe topic, and we have the full transparency meanwhile. Thank you for your attention and questions.
Sven, thank you very much for your detailed, insightful presentation today. I actually have two questions for you.
Yes.
It's been an evolution, right, of building this application out in the last few years. If you could change one thing, what would it be?
One thing I would be, to try to get the business involved early. So not like to drive it from the IT, but to drive it from the business and saying, you want that, you have these customers who are not so happy, so get the buy-in, get all the teams involved and make it that they want it, and not we offer the platform and you need to come.
So to drive actually more adaptation during the whole development process.
Exactly.
And looking forward, do you have any, let's say, must-haves or nice-to-haves on your wish list to actually add to the system?
Yes, we do, and we have plans. One, for example, is this is realized here in Canvas. And we found that Canvas performance is not as good as we would like to see that, and that Angular gives us much more flexibility to present that. So we are actually now thinking on moving to Angular. And the second is we still run it ourselves on AWS. We will have the next step to, we do a POC actually with it, to do more machine learning also on the log data we have, to do even more preventive analysis. The results are not so good yet, so we don't have it now productive, but that will be the next step for sure. And last but not least, maybe one day we will go to the Elastic Cloud to eliminate even the need for us and my team to maintain all the AWS environment. But I mean, honestly, we are talking now about 25 servers in 3 locations or areas, not like what we heard this morning, 400 servers or 1,900 servers and 18 deployments.
Every customer, small or big, is welcome in our cloud, so Sven, so don't hold back on that part.
Yeah.
Are there any questions from the audience in the room? Or do you guys want to go for a longer break even?
Yeah. Maybe I can add one more topic and say...
Go ahead, yes, the floor is yours.
I talked here today for after sales, and we saw that from the workshops coming. I said sales is separate, and also the development of the cars is different. I know, meanwhile, that within BMW we have 8 use cases, this is only one out of that, where we run Elastic. And also, I'm interested in knowing what are my colleagues doing. And you see, we are a big company, not maybe like humans or others, which are smaller IT department. Imagine, what do you think? Maybe next question to the audience. I mean, they don't have to, I can ask questions. So, yes. What do you think, how many IT guys does BMW have over the world, roughly, rough number? We are a car company. And I didn't ask how many papers we are printing a year or something like that. I'm asking, how many IT people do you think we have? 2,000, 200? 5,000? Close. I heard 4,300 was the last number. And alone in the central area of BMW Munich, so Germany, around 2,000. So you can imagine how big that is, how divided. We heard earlier, silos. It is that they say, you don't need my data, you don't need that data. And honestly, I don't think that I will understand all the data. Knowing what development of the car has data detailed from the steering environment in the car, it's unbelievable, and I would never say I know everything about our car. Never.
Then a big applause to Sven again. Thank you very much.
Thank you.